Well, to discuss this, I'm joined from Islamabad by Zafarullah Khan. He's a barrister and former advisor to Nawaz Sharif. Also in Islamabad is Syed Zafar Ali Shah. He's a senator and a senior leader within Imran Khan's Tehreek-e-insaf party, or PTI. And completing our panel, also from Islamabad, is political analyst Mosharraf Zaidi. Gentlemen, I'm going to begin with the same question to all of you. Let me start with Zafarullah Khan. The three-time Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, now in jail. Was his conviction and sentencing, in your opinion, I think I know where you stand, but it would be good to hear where you stand. Was it unfair and unjust?
First he was elected, and after 2 years he was sent home. Then again people elected him. Again he was sent home. And third time he was elected, again through a judicial process to which we don't agree. He is sent home, not only sent home, disqualified, and he is jailed. And he is disqualified to hold a public office, and he is disqualified to become a head of the party. All the laws which humanity has evolved over the years, right of fair hearing, right of fair trial, they have not been complied with. The judgment is based on presumptions, suppositions, circumstantial evidence without having any direct evidence. And he has not been given a proper treatment. And the Supreme Court was itself the originator of the case, itself was monitoring the case. I am a practicing lawyer, let me tell you, the first time in the history of Pakistan that a sitting judge of Supreme Court was monitoring a case on a daily basis.
Okay, so we know where you stand. Hold on.
First time history of Pakistan.
Certainly, because we have time constraints here, and I want to get through a lot here with all of you. We know where you stand on this issue. Syed Zafar Ali Shah, let me go to you. You were PML-N, now you're PTI. Do you accept that maybe Nawaz Sharif's conviction was unfair and unjust?
No, I don't think so. This is not unfair because this trial against Nawaz Sharif almost took 10 months, and full opportunity was given to Mr. Nawaz Sharif and his counsels. Firstly, before this trial, the Supreme Court of Pakistan, which is the apex court of the country, after disclosure of the Panama leakage throughout the world, firstly, and on the instance of Nawaz Sharif, first proceeding was Supreme Court taken the cognizance, and Supreme Court declared, as Mr. Zafarullah Khan just stating, that Supreme Court declared Nawaz Sharif disqualified, and he was ousted from the premiership. And after that, since the Supreme Court of Pakistan is not a trial court, trial court is a this NAB ordinance, National Accountability Bureau Courts.
You feel this was fair and this was just. Mosharraf Zaidi, tell me where you stand, and within your answer, I want you to expand on the fact that we seem to be witnessing a crackdown on PML-N as well. Is that justified?
So I think, I think the world is not as black and white as we'd like it to be. I don't think there's any question that the judgment against both the disqualification judgment in July of 2017 and the conviction from the Accountability Court in July of 2018, both judgments are harsh. Both judgments can easily be seen as being unfair. But in terms of the process and the availability of opportunity to prevent any of this from happening, the Panama Papers came out in April of 2016, and it is now July of 2018. So it's over 2 years that former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and his family have had over 2 years to establish some sort of a case. They've tried to establish a political case for themselves, and their legal case has been rather shambolic. There have been consistent and constant contradictions between various members of the family. There have been some ridiculous attempts to backdate things that probably shouldn't have happened. So I think it's six of one and half a dozen of another.
Okay.
There has been undue harshness, and there has been a shocking degree of incompetence by the Sharifs in all this.
Okay, so
now,
Zafarullah
as far
Khan,
as the
Mosharraf, let me come in there, and we'll get back to you in a moment. Let me bring in Zafarullah Khan. Would you at least accept that the PML-N and the Sharif family has bungled this from Fontgate after the Panama Papers and beyond, claiming political persecution, whereas maybe you should have just made a decent legal case to prove that he wasn't corrupt?
We had a best of lawyers. We did our level best. I myself am associated. Unfortunately, we have a very bad history of such judgment in Supreme Court of Pakistan, including Supreme Court of Pakistan. One of my learned seniors who is sitting with here, he went to the Supreme Court of Pakistan when the last time Nawaz Sharif was thrown out in the military coup. The Supreme Court of Pakistan justified military coup, and they gave the power to amend the constitution. So we have a very bad history of such politically motivated judgments in Pakistan. It's not we have done legal best effort we could have done, and we are very sure that this is not as such a legal case. In Panama Papers, 435 people were involved. Only one person is tried, 434 are out.
But only one person within that, certainly so, but only one person within that was the Prime Minister of Pakistan at the time, Syed Zafar Ali Shah.
Of course.
Okay, let me bring in Syed Zafar Ali Shah and ask about what seems to be a clampdown at the moment on PML-N. Hundreds of their supporters arrested. We had Nawaz Sharif talking from the UAE before he landed in Pakistan, saying that the state is being run by a state above the state. And so there's a feeling that, you know what, the army calls the shots, and the army's choice for the next leader is the man whose picture we see behind you and the man you support, Imran Khan, and so they're getting Nawaz Sharif out of the way. Is that accurate and fair?
I don't think so, but even then I don't know what are the secret of the state and what the army is doing and what the Nawaz Sharif is doing. As you said that Nawaz Sharif, when reached here in Lahore, Nawaz Sharif was not coming as a free citizen. He was convicted. He was convicted by the competent court of law. And it was not supposed to, the million of people can go on airport and receive him. He was not supposed, and they were not allowed to do so. So we can't say, as my learned friend Mr. Zafarullah Khan said, when I first, when Nawaz Sharif was thrown from the government first time, that was victimization. That was martial law. That was coup against the constitutional government. But at this time, it is a case of money laundering. It is a case of corruption.
Okay, but you don't believe
So
that anybody
can't say that.
Okay, you don't believe that the path is being paved for Imran Khan. Let me then ask you that question in a different way. Are you confident ahead of the elections that the competition is being sidelined?
Competition is apparently which we are looking at. Competition is between PTI, Pakistan Tehreek-e-insaf, and the Pakistan Muslim League Noon, which is now at the time headed by Mr. Shah, who is the younger brother of Mr. Nawaz Sharif. So competition is there, particularly within the biggest province of the country, that's Punjab.
Okay, Mosharraf Zaidi, let me ask you, we've had those horrible attacks. Daesh claimed responsibility. Yeah. We also had Pakistani Taliban claiming responsibility. More than 130 people killed, as far as I understand. It was on the day of the arrest of Nawaz Sharif, in the build-up to an election. And of course, you still have a lot of PML-N supporters, this being not quite connected, but still in the build-up to the election, who are very angry that Nawaz Sharif is arrested, that Maryam Nawaz has been arrested. What does all of this that's happening tell us about the build-up to that election and what the temperature and the atmosphere of the country is right now, Mosharraf?
Well, I mean, there's two ways to look at this. You know, Pakistan has suffered repeated interventions in its democratic process over its 70-year history. One way of looking at what's happening now is to understand it within the longer arc of history. And within the longer arc of history, it's actually encouraging that the military, if we are to accept the allegations, and I think some of them, they do ring true, that the military is from behind the scenes trying to certainly exert some pressure on people to not support the PML-N, to not run on the PML-N ticket, then the fact that it's having to do so from behind the scenes and the fact that it's apologetic about it means that the rules of the game in Pakistan have changed. It used to be that the military, and particularly military dictators, could get up in the morning and depending on what side of the bed they woke up on, they could choose to do whatever they wanted. The judiciary would do exactly as they say. Now, of course, the PML-N supporters claim that that's exactly what's happening, but there's plenty of voices in Pakistan that don't agree with the PML-N's point of view. I do think the PML-N has been treated slightly harshly. I do think that the PML-N has been incredibly incompetent. But at the end of the day, if the election day remains reasonably peaceful and the process is reasonably transparent and fair in terms of people being allowed to cast their ballot, and if we somehow manage a decent turnout, for which I think we'll need really good security and a stop to the kind of thing that happened in Mastung, where so many Pakistanis were martyred, then I think we might be able to squeeze out a victory for the country regardless of who wins the election. And that is the sustenance of our democratic process and a third consecutive election, which is a big deal.
Certainly. Zafarullah Khan, are you still optimistic ahead of those elections, or are you going to lose clearly?
We are optimistic. We have performed well. We now have a new narrative that let the people decide. I agree there were some direct interventions, as you had the last in 1981. But then you had a new form of the coup. When the Khan was out, it was called the postmodern coup. We are facing a now postmodern coup. Our leader is in jail. Ex-ministers are being daily quizzed by the investigation agencies. We have a bomb threat. Per day, hundreds and hundreds of our supporters are being arrested. Our candidates are in jail. So what we can say, is it a fair playing field? All the difficulties are being created in our way and other parties, and all the facilitation is being created, enabling environment being created by the Pakistan Tehreek-e-insaf led by Imran Khan.
Okay.
So I don't think it's level playing field, but still we think we will fight. We have no other option except to fight in the larger interest of the civil-military relations, and ultimately people will win.
Okay, very finally, Syed Zafar Ali Shah, for those who point out the fact that Nawaz Sharif is in jail for not declaring some properties worth a few million, but someone like Hafiz Muhammad Syed, accused of being involved in the Mumbai terror attacks, killing innocent people, is actually campaigning in this election as some sort of example of the injustice and the unfairness. Your response is what?
Hafiz Muhammad Syed was one of the best supporters of Nawaz Sharif. In all the previous election, he and his party supported with full heart. Now I can't say why the Hafiz Syed is against Nawaz Sharif and Nawaz Sharif is against Hafiz Syed. But Hafiz Syed is a religious leader. In this election, both the leaders are opponent with each other. I don't think what is the reason, that I don't know. But if the election, and there is also a apprehension that Nawaz Sharif, at the last day of the election, he and the other leader of a political party, that's Pakistan People's Party, Zardari, both leaders can boycott the election of Pakistan, which are going to be held on.
Okay, there is some apprehension, but so far no clear evidence, certainly no clear evidence of a boycott from the PPP or PML-N. We'll be watching the election closely. We'll see how all of this plays out. But gentlemen, I thank you all for joining us here on the Newsmakers. Zafarullah Khan, Syed Zafar Ali Shah and Mosharraf Zaidi. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.